There were some strong candidates. Your previous guest, Robert Kennedy, did real well. So, you know, it's all over the map.
He is scoring, what, 10, 12, 15% sometimes in the polls. It just seems to me, if you take all that together, he's right in a sense that it does show the degree of dissatisfaction that there is with the two main candidates.
And that's why there's been a lot of interest in his vice presidential pick, Aaron Rodgers in the mix and all of that. So you can see that there's something there for both sides to be nervous about.
And with that, let's bring in the man who could be the X factor in this year's presidential election, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Mr. Kennedy, thank you for joining us. We very much appreciate this. I want to kind of run through these polls because, one, you have not seen them yet, so we can put them up. This is Fox News polling in Arizona. This is a five-way race, and you can see you're running third at 10%. Moving on now to Pennsylvania, and you're also in third at 9%. And the Democratic Representative Jake Auchincloss said the following. Watch.
This election is going to be a near-run thing. Going to come down to a few states. Going to come down to a couple 100,000 voters. So any third-party candidate, especially with the last name like Kennedy, poses a significant challenge.
Yeah, Slate said the following: Trump and Biden should be terrified of a third-party candidate. You're clearly making an impact. What's your thoughts on this?
Well, my thoughts are the American public wants another choice. 80% of Americans say they do not want a rematch of 2020. People say that they're tired of being presented with a choice between the lesser of two evils. They want a candidate who they believe in, who gives them a hopeful vision for the future of this country, who is caring about ending the wars, ending the chronic disease epidemic, restoring the middle class, and making sure to protect our constitutional rights. So, I think that we need another voice. We're a democracy. We shouldn't just be forced to choose between two bad choices.
Yeah, it's interesting because people are asking me all the time, what has to happen for Robert F. Kennedy Jr. to make an impact, to be squarely in the running in November? You've got 7 months, 7+ months.
Yeah, I mean, I think our first challenge is to get on the ballot in all states, and we will do that. I think we'll be on the ballot in most states within probably 6 or 8 weeks, and we'll be on the ballot in all of the states that we can legally get on at that time. Some of the states open later, so you can't start gathering signatures, but as those states come up, we'll get on those ballots. Here in California, we started our own political party. People have to go to Kennedy24.com/California and register for that party. We need 75,000 registrants, and then I'm on the ballot here.
Yeah, you go forward and you talk about this, and there's been a lot of you've started your own party. There's been talk of no labels. There's been talk of other things moving on there. Would you move if you had more support, if you had more money, if you had something that was going to steamroll you? Would you consider moving?
Moving
to another party, to another platform? Would you go to no labels? Would you would you become the vice president of the United States if Donald Trump asked you to be his vice president?
No, I would not. My marriage would not survive that. But we're going to get on the ballot. So I'm not worried about getting on the ballot. And I'm now beating both President Trump and President Biden among Americans under 45 years old. I'm beating them in independent voters, which now is the biggest political party. This is the first time in American history that independents have outnumbered Republicans and Democrats. 43% of the electorate identifies themselves as independent, and only 27% are Democrats, 27% are Republicans. And I'm beating both President Trump and President Biden in that biggest cohort.
Yeah, you have said clearly that you will not run if President Trump, former President Trump, asked you to be his nominee, his vice presidential nominee. It's a no. Wouldn't hear your marriage. Yeah. Meantime, you have already made your choice on who your running mate will be, and we know that Aaron Rodgers, the quarterback for the New York Jets, formerly of the Green Bay Packers, is a prominent name in that. Why?
Well, he's one of the people that we've talked to. I really like Aaron because our appeal is to young people. We're trying to make sure that young people are participating in the political process, that they have hope for America. We want somebody the people who have run up the $34 trillion debt, which they're dumping on that generation, are all older people. And we want somebody young who's going to look out for that generation. Mm-hmm. Aaron Rodgers is battle tested. He's stood up. He's been hammered by the press. Stood up for things we believed, and I like that part of his character. He's a critical thinker, and I think we need that at the time, as you know, the rise of AI. We need people who understand that you cannot always trust authority. Just because somebody's in charge, it doesn't mean that they're telling you the truth, and we want somebody who's going to critically examine. My father used to say, one of the duties of living as a citizen of democracy is to maintain a constant posture of skepticism toward authority. And I think Aaron's shown that. He's also somebody who I think will help me get the country healthy again. He's 40 years old. He's focused on his own health. He's very aware of health issues, and that's one of the things that's one of the key parts of my agenda, is to get the country healthy again.
It sounds to me like Aaron Rodgers is the choice, is your choice. Is he your vice presidential choice?
We're announcing my choice on the 26th of this month, so 2 weeks from today, in Oakland. If you want to find out who my choice is, you need to come to that.
Might as well just let us know right here, because you've got the time, the space, I think. Senator, thank you.
Trace, thanks for having me.
Appreciate your time so much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.